Does the word budget make you cringe, or does it conjure up thoughts of math, frugality, and depriving yourself of all the things that make you happy? A budget is more than just figures scribbled on a yellow steno pad with good intentions that will never be realized. The first step to understanding why budgets often fail is to define what a budget is and is not. That's the difference between frustration and success. Budget misunderstandings. A budget is not a straitjacket to keep you from spending your money, nor is it a piece of paper to make yourself feel guilty about every spending decision you make. Tracking your expenses does not change the amount of money you have available to spend every month either. It just tells you where the money is going. It highlights the trade-off made when you choose to spend your money on one thing over another. Do you spend $1,500 on a new device, or put it into an emergency fund? Should you make that $10,000 investment now, or make a down payment for a new car? Your child's education, or a vacation? Life is full of decisions, and when it comes to financial choices, budgeting provides you with information to make up your own mind. It makes the decision-making process a lot easier. A budget allows you to make sure your hard-earned money is being put to its highest and best use. And for people with tight cash flow, it could be important to identify expenses that could be cut and minimize any unnecessary interest spent on credit cards or other debt. Contrary to what a lot of people think, budgeting is not about restricting yourself. It's about creating a plan that you're happy with and only you are in control. The budget is the plan, not the action. And the plan is to help you spend where you'll have the most fun while keeping as much money in your pocket as possible. Rather than depriving you of the good things you want, a budget is supposed to point you in the right direction to live the best life you've always wanted, given the amount of money you have right now. This knowledge is one thing that helps determine the success of a budget. And if you do that correctly, your expenses shouldn't exceed your earnings. A budget, which is a smart spending plan, leads you to save more to have your best life. The idea is that failing to understand what a budget is and how it can help you makes budgeting ineffective. So let's look at how we should view our budget, and then you can learn how to make it work for your specific individual needs. Remember, different types of budgeting methods work for different people. The key is to figure out which one works best for you. Check out some of our other budgeting videos on this channel. We look at different budgeting styles and how you can choose what works for you. And if you made it this far, please consider liking and subscribing. Now, no matter what type of budgeting method you choose, to be successful with it, you have to do a few things. 1. View your budget as a measure of what you believe is worth living for. You live in an economy where you trade hours for dollars and dollars for stuff. But what you're really doing is spending your life on a currency exchange for a dollar. To be successful with budgeting, you have to see a budget as showing you the numerical value or priority you place on things in your life. If you make $20 an hour and buy the newest Jordans for $120, you spent 6 hours of your life on those shoes. If you make $5,000 per month and spend $2,000 on shiny toys, you spend over a week of your earning life buying things that may not even bring you joy. A budget puts your life in a picture made of numbers. Your budget is a place where you can see and decide what you live for. This should give you joy and added motivation if you're living for the right things by your own standards. Doing this will lead to success with your budget and make it clearer why bad choices like unnecessary subscriptions, eating out too often, flashy fashion that fades away before it arrives, and ridiculously high credit card interest need to be cut. When you understand that a budget is a place where you build clarity around what you will invest your life in, you get a chance at success over the mundane repetition of crunching numbers. Also, working in financial clarity is far easier than simply budgeting because you know you should. If you're struggling to stick to a budget because you don't see the value, you should first figure out what your goals are. Before you try yet another budget, consider what an extra $250 or $500 per month would do. Would you be able to buy a house sooner or contribute more to your retirement plan? Maybe your family could finally take that dream vacation to South America. Just get clarity over your finances. Whatever your goal is, knowing you're working towards something makes success at budgeting much easier. 2. View your budget as a dynamic document tracking a dynamic entity. Look at your budget as a living document tracking ever-increasing expenses. Money doesn't always sit still, but the typical budget's list of checks and balances fails to account for this. Expenses vary, prices fluctuate, impulse purchases call, and the budget fails. When a budget isn't flexible, it overwhelms the person using it. They're trying to track dynamic expenses with a static piece of paper, and they don't understand why it doesn't work. In order to be successful, you need to have a process for tracking more than just month-to-month expenses, a static mentality, and keep track of where your money and life are going, a more dynamic quality. This is why it's also important to have a financial plan in place for your overall money life. When you learn to see your monthly expenses in relation to where your life and money are going, maintaining your focus and patience becomes easier, which leads to success. 3. Your budget is an instrument to help you live the life you want. To live the life you want, you have to tame your finances to suit what you have. A tamed horse is no less powerful than a wild one. It's just that its power can be focused and intentional on a single task at a time. Similarly, a tamed desire is no less of a desire, nor is delayed gratification any less of an enjoyment. Rather, taming your finances gives you the freedom to focus on the things that really matter instead of nickel and diming into frivolous living. If you've planned to spend 30% of your take-home income on housing, but live in a high cost of living area, make your budget work for you rather than the other way around. This could mean that you have to plan to spend more like 35 or 40% of your budget on housing, or it could mean that you ruthlessly cut out other spending in your wants or desires category because you prioritize where you live more. Either way, you must also select a budgeting method that corresponds to your lifestyle. Create a budget based on your current spending categories and then seek opportunities to revise and cut spending. If you're allocating more than the suggested 20% of your budget to student loan repayment because you want to be debt-free in 5 years, that's fine as long as you can make more money or save money elsewhere and stick to your budget. Otherwise, it may be preferable to refinance your student loans to minimize your payments. The idea is to first create a budget that fits you and gives you clarity, then work on reducing your spending or increasing your income. Finding and sticking to a budget that works for you is both an art and a science. It can also be a frustrating experience, but a realistic budget can help you turn money into a tool that you can use to make your life better, happier, and more productive. Tell us in the comments section, what type of budgeting do you use? Have you ever struggled to stick to a budget? Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, share it with a friend, and we'll see you in the next one.